Welcome to Women in Paint. Whether your paint story is dripless or an old school mix of project management, business ownership, or modern estimation, the stories of women in paint are now part of the industry's rising success. We'll educate, encourage, and promote diversity and gender equality by giving you a behind the scenes look at our proven skills, business acumen, and driving force that propels anyone to find meaningful opportunities and a career path that challenges lives through paint. Now let's welcome your host, Michael Cheney.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the show. All right, today's going to be fun because I have a close friend of mine on with me. She's also one of my sales reps at No Drip Painting, Gaby Santiago. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you for
All
having
right,
me.
so you are one of my team members. You are just so creative and so great at what you do. Talk about your background. You have a background that didn't originate in paint like most of us. So let's jump in here. Talk about your background, then we'll kind of talk about how you became one of our lead sales reps at No Drip Painting.
Let's see, where do I start? A little bit about my background. So my father's Mexican, my mother's also Hispanic. And so I'll have to say this really started at the dinner table. I would always set every holiday dinner table, any sort of dinnerscape or florals or napkins. My mom always had me in charge of that. And I think that's really where my love of catering to people, but also just creativity and putting colors and palettes together and things like that really started. From there, I found myself in the restaurant industry after college. I did it for 15 years. Honestly, it's a little addicting. It's a lot of fun. It's very fast paced, and I'm somebody that always has to be on the go. And then from there, my partner and I actually started an experiential thematic dinner series called Humans of Columbus that we ran from 2018 to 2020. So we would host like-minded individuals, creatives. Michael was a part of those dinners, several of them, and really kind of got to see them blossom and come into fruition from just a design or a conversation. From there, I like to call myself an experiential designer because I really am focused on my guest or my client's experience. And from there, I found my love of interior design as well. And I think it was always kind of there. My mom has always been a big decorator and let me decorate my bedroom in high school and all that. And so, that's kind of where it led me today. And I found myself at No Drip.
Yeah, and you know I think what you have done, we're going to talk about this here in a minute, but your background, your your creativity, your experience with this design element, the customer experience that you learned in the service industry. And I think it's important to say that in the service industry, you work for kind of the high end, at least in Columbus, the high-end restaurants. So you've got all of this interesting experience, and it now has funneled you into this career path in paint where you're one of our sales reps. Let's talk about the adjustment. How was the adjustment going from this, you had been in this career for 15 years and you kind of said, okay, I'm switching gears. What was that like? And I don't know, were you scared or was it just an easy transition?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I think that we go through seasons in life, and I really knew that it was I'm finding myself getting a little emotional right now. I knew that it was time for me to pivot. And thankfully, Michael, you gave me a beautiful opportunity, and I was like, okay, this is the door that I've been waiting for. And it definitely has been challenging. I'm used to going in at work at 5 p.m., maybe getting off at 1 a.m. and starting over and kind of doing it all over again. But, really starting my morning at 6 a.m., I have to tell you, I find I'm most creative and most focused at like 4:30 or 5. It's like my little alarm, my creative bulb is like, okay, get up. You're ready to rock. The day flies by. And honestly, I'm out in the field so much. I'll drop by the office, really for camaraderie or to ask questions, find my PM here, any clients I might need to follow up with. But I love kind of the spontaneity. And just like in restaurants where I'm out in the field, I'm going to homes, I'm talking to people. In that sense, it was actually a very easy transition because funny enough, we talk a lot about how I bring restaurant analogies to the paint world, but I kind of think of each home that I step into is almost like a table that I'm greeting, right? And so I'm greeting my table. I'm, empathetic to their situation or what they're going through. I'm a lending ear. A lot of times, we see homes that might be maybe in a little bit of chaos, or someone's going through something, and we've had a couple emotional clients, going through some things, and so it's really beautiful to be able to help them and just really help them be able to fall in love with their homes and create a space that's a sanctuary. And honestly, that's where my partner and I really, we really lock in our home, and we love to host. We always are hosting family, friends. We love to bring people together. I think that's so important. And so for me, it felt right, because starting from the dinner table, well, the dinner table is always in your home. So it's kind of a full circle moment.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I would say for others who might be listening, who are trying to build out a sales team, look in the restaurants, because what you've said something there that I didn't really think about before, that kind of hustle and bustle that goes along with tables in the restaurant. I mean, it is like that as a sales rep. I mean, you guys have a packed schedule. You're going from, sometimes one part of town to another part of town. You're kind of on this quick timeline. And so like that having that kind of background and being used to that adjustment and moving and grooving, like I think that's a good call out. So you've adjusted.
Yes.
You feel like you've adjusted?
I think so. I think I've adjusted. I actually really love it. I love being able to have my weekends. And funny enough, I actually really enjoy taking estimates or taking a color consultation on the weekend. I find that Saturdays create a really relaxed environment. Michael, you gave me that pointer when we first kind of started, and I remember being like, okay, like I really want to have my Saturday, because I was so used to being in a restaurant on a Saturday. And I find myself loving to get up and go and be in a client's home on a Saturday morning and smell their breakfast. And it's, it just becomes more, instead of like okay, we're just here to do a paint service. No, I'm here to help you elevate and kind of transition into any next chapter that you're in. So it's deeper than paint. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we think. So let's talk a little bit about our sales process, because I think you're hitting on something there. We do kind of approach it as, it's not just paint. I mean, that's kind of the whole mission of No Drip Painting. We're not just putting paint on people's walls. We're having an impact. We're in their home. You're in there smelling their breakfast. You're, we're trying to get them to the table. So it's kind of this intimate thing. What are some of the things within our sales process? Well, let's talk about presenting on the spot. This is a big topic within the industry, and we present on the spot. Talk about that. Is that, like, from a sales rep's perspective, is that difficult? Is there some fear around that? Do you find it easy with all your experience? What is presenting on the spot? How does that land with you?
That was definitely something that I had to get used to. I, believe it or not, can be a little bit of a shy person, and I'm a very empathetic person. So to me, I had to get that price right out of the equation. Like, no, I'm here to present a project and your overall like goal and the vision and what you want. I actually love presenting on the spot. When I can't, it's very frustrating, because I think that you are able to get to know me as an individual. You can feel comfortable with me. We can have a laugh or two. You can kind of tell me something personal. So I actually really love presenting on the spot. I found that our clients are honestly just like flabbergasted when we do. They're like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have, like, how long is this? Will I get it in a couple weeks? I'm like, no, actually in about 15 minutes, I'll have something drawn up for you. And even better, shout out to Paint Scout, it'll spit out a number for you. I can even tell you about how many days, this project's going to take. So
Yeah.
Our program is so user friendly. I found that our clients absolutely love it. It makes it so seamless. It's a live edit. At any point, we can accommodate your budget, your estimate. We can phase out your project. So for me, I think presenting on the spot is so important. It not only sells the project, but it sells you and the company that you're representing, as opposed to just an email that can sometimes be a little bit not as personal.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a total win for us. We haven't
Mhm.
always done estimates on the spot. We adopted this probably about a year ago, and I really believe it's the way to go. And you're right. Like when you have that moment, you get a little bit more time with the person. They kind of get a feel for you and your personality. Let me ask you this: how do you, or is there any, I guess, suggestions or tips you would give someone if you're presenting a quote and it's got a big number on it? How do you not, you know, measure this against your bank account as
Yeah.
opposed to, okay, they've asked me to give this quote. Okay, it's a big number. How do you show up and deliver that number with confidence?
That's a really great question, and this is actually something that I've helped Cheney with as well. I will say that I kind of learned this from the restaurant industry. You know, if I'm selling you a shellfish tower that I know is going to cost 175, and I'm going to say, hey, you're going to want it with this beautiful glass of Chardonnay that might be $35. I'm going to sell you that taste, that vision. Okay, you're sipping on your white wine. You've got these chilled oysters. It's sitting on a bed of ice. You know, you're with your friends. So for me, I'm like, the value's already there. You're going to pay for it. So I kind of just walk into an estimate now, where I'm like, I'm not even looking at the number at this point. I'm just selling you, not even selling you, I'm telling you and reassuring you what you're going to get, which is quality, a seamless process. And so a lot of times I've actually been finding with some of my higher ticketed clients that it falls into place. They're like, you know what? Of course, I'm going to trust you with X amount of dollars because look how you presented yourself. You showed up on time. You know, you were kind, you were courteous, personable. You gave me a laugh or two, you know. And so I think when you step into a presentation with confidence and knowing that, listen, this is the price because it's worth it and you're going to love it, then I think that kind of it falls into place for you.
Yeah, so it sounds like you believe in it and you're able to convey that. Let's talk about one of our differentiators, which is color consultation. So we offer
Mhm.
color consultations on every project, doesn't matter the size. How does that land with your customers? Do you find that they want the color consultation? Do you feel like that's a big selling point?
Absolutely. So funny enough, I started doing color consultations back in like 2020. You kept me very busy. And I absolutely loved going and picking out swatches and things like that. And so being a sales rep and having that color consultant background, it actually goes hand in hand for me because a lot of times I'm knocking out the color consultation during the estimate. And I do that because one, it's going to expedite you on our production schedule. It's one less person that has to come back out and secure those colors, which sometimes can be, you know, a little tricky with scheduling. And three, I think that I'm also able to say, well, hey, if we do a brown accent wall in here, I think let's start maybe taking a look in your office. And so that's really how I mastered, I guess, the power of the upsell. And that honestly stems from restaurants. We try to upsell all the time. Hey, if you're getting a set of 3 baked oysters and you've got 2 of you here, well, don't you each want to enjoy 2? Let's go ahead and make it a 4-piece, right? And so I think that when you just kind of walk people through those things, like, well, listen, you're already painting your hallway. You've got this room that doesn't match your hallway. I can price it out for you. Let's just take a look. And so I find myself honestly kind of tying the two together, and it really works well.
Yeah, and I will say, like, what I've learned from the business owner perspective from hiring the sales rep position is that this skill set, the interior design piece that you have, really goes well with the sales role that you're in. I mean, you just nailed it right there. Like when you can go into someone's home and now you're giving suggestions on color, which, by the way, according to Sherwin-Williams, 50% of people don't move forward with a painting project because they don't know what color to choose. So you're in there and you're giving them this whole other experience,
Hmm.
which I think probably builds their confidence in you, builds the confidence in no drip painting. And now you're like literally helping them with one of the most challenging pieces. And like you said, you're also then setting yourself up to upsell, which is huge. I do want to talk about, so you started doing color consultations for us and then years later became a sales rep. So but we still have you do some color consultations.
Hmm.
Um, Now you're busy with sales, but we also are like so overloaded with color consultations. So you're jumping in and you're helping us. You were doing something super unique on these color consultations that has been like a real eye opener for me. And what you're doing is you're going into these color consultations. And let me just set the stage here is that most of the time this job has been sold by another estimator on our team. So another sales rep on our team has sold a job. You're doing the color consultation for us at times, and you're going in there and you're upselling a job that you didn't originally bid. And this is just so crazy to me. So talk about that. And I know that this comes from your design background and how you can go into a space and you can make these suggestions. But there's been jobs where your upsell is more than the entire job. Like you're upselling thousands of dollars onto these jobs. Talk about what that, how is that happening basically?
Well, I don't even know where to start. I know what project you're talking about. And I will say, I could tell that this couple, beautiful young couple, so sweet. This house was actually a little bit of foresight. This house was in the family. It was given to the grandson by his grandfather. He grew up in this house on Sunbury, going to the lake, and it was just beautiful. And I could tell that this family really needed help on direction. Like they were just all over the place and this happens with, funny enough, here we go back to restaurant talk, but with large parties, right? And I actually told Dre this last week. We were in a home, not to bounce around, but we were in a home and the lady just started, okay, we need this done. We need this done. And I was like, slow down. We're going to start in the main foyer. Let's start here, right? Because as Dan always says, let's square it off. Let's start right here. Are we touching baseboards, ceilings, walls, doors, whatever? And then from there, let's go ahead. And so you really kind of have to take direction and kind of take the reins. And we do that in restaurants with large parties. It's like, no, you're not going to go ahead and start ordering because we're just on cocktails right now. And this is my seat one. And we're going to go and order to keep everybody in line. And so I think that really taking the reins and having, like I said previously, having that confidence where it's like, listen, you can trust me. I'm here for your better interests. I'm not here to bamboozle you or just sell you whatever. I want you to love your home. And so with this particular couple, I could tell they needed a lot of direction. They were doing a lot of remodeling on the exterior of the house. And I was just there to help them pick out, I think, just like trim. And I said, well, hey, you've got this beautiful brick. I'll tell you what, I know what you're looking for. You want that blue. I follow the trends. I know what looks good. I also know it's timeless. And I know you want to go with this black and do some lime wash. Well, they didn't even know they wanted lime wash until I suggested. I was like, I really think that you should cancel out this red brick and let's bring in like Cristallo white Roma Bio lime wash. I think that's just really going to melt everything together, really beautiful. And then you've got this beautiful setting of your house on the back lake. And so with that, they were like, okay, well, can you just price that out? And so before you know it, me and my little wheel are rolling around and we're getting that for lime wash. And then from there, it's like, well, hey, you know what? Do you think that we should paint this part of the house? And do you think we should go ahead and take care of the garage too? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. Like if you want my honest opinion, yes. And so that's really where I'm able to upsell, is reassuring the client, but also giving them direction. And that's okay. If you don't know what colors you want to go with, but you have an idea or you want something soft, all those keywords, that's all I need. I'm a visual person to build that vision. And what's wonderful is, I'm a self-taught interior designer. I've designed actually Flower, which is located in Polaris, beautiful, beautiful Italian restaurant, as well as another beauty salon. And I'll tell you, I was so nervous to take these jobs on because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't have this formal background. You don't have to. If you're confident in what you do and you do the work and you do it well, you're fine. And you know what? I've seen the success from both of those businesses do well because of the space that I was able to create for them. And that's huge. That's really big for me. And so even creating renderings is something that we do on site now. And I love being able to do that. I had a client last night called me at 7 p.m. and she's like, hey, we had production for her today to start her daughter's bedroom. She's like, I'm nervous about the color. I said, okay, well, here's a simple pinpoint. All you have to do is change the lighting in your daughter's bedroom because actually steamed milk does pull hues of pink and is really soft and pretty and will complement. And also it's timeless, right? You want to be able for her daughter to grow into it as a teenager and change decor. And so I sent her a quick rendering, did it within like 15 minutes. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so relieved. Thank you. I'm going to change my light bulbs. It doesn't have to be an expensive change. It can be something as simple as changing a yellow light bulb to a soft white. I give these pointers all the time. I like to call them gems, and I drop them freely. I think that that's, something that we as professionals should do. It's like, I'm here to educate you. And Michael, you always say that. And so my job is to make sure I have all that knowledge, but that I'm also able to verbalize it to you and help you, come up with a plan of action as well.
Wow, that's amazing. There's two things you hit on that I think are important. One, you talked about the renderings. You're right, we do renderings. You've recently found kind of a quick way to do a rendering, which I love. Can you explain two things: how we used to do the renderings, and now how you at 7 p.m. can throw a rendering together. And so talk about your process for renderings. Is pretty dope.
Yeah. And it's funny because some people might not love the AI approach or be a fan. I will tell you, don't work harder, work smarter. It's not that you're not using your brain, actually. You are, because you're asking AI to help you, right? This is what I need done. I need this bedroom painted in steamed milk. I need you to make the bed while you're at it. And I need you to go ahead and remove the kids that are in the room, because sometimes that happens. And I need you to go ahead and change that lighting in soft white. These are all things that I already know that need to happen, right?
So this is from a picture?
Yeah.
So you're uploading a picture, you're using ChatGPT?
Yes.
And you're telling ChatGPT to make the bed?
Make the bed, remove the children, change the lighting, and then paint the wall in steamed milk 7554.
That's wild. And then what happens? You get that back?
It's pretty great. And then I'll go into Canva, and if I have to fine tune things, I have no problem doing that. I do have that level of expertise where I can go in and fine tune things on my iPad with my pen or things like that. So I will take it a step further and make sure that looks completed in like a nice display format. But I think ChatGPT is great, especially for interior designers. We're very busy. And listen, I've taught myself how to do renderings, and they're not easy. They're very time consuming. And I think that when you're trying to just achieve something even as simple as just like, hey, it's just a kid's bedroom, we just need to make sure that the client feels comfortable about the color, use that ChatGPT. It is wonderful. I use it for questions regarding nail pops. I mean, all sorts of things. And it's actually a source and a vessel of information. I'm learning from ChatGPT, so I think it's great, and it's been very beneficial for us. The clients seem to love it. Prior to that, we were using an app that wasn't so great. It wasn't as exact as ChatGPT
You can say it. It's the Sherwin-Williams platform. It's terrible.
Listen, I'm pretty sure everyone hates
the rendering piece.
It's not great. And it was really, I found it like to be frustrating. And so when I came back as a full-time estimator, and I think I was doing like a couple renderings, I'm like, you know what? And I was anti-ChatGPT. You can ask my partner. She used to say, Gabby, why don't you just draft this up in ChatGPT, like this email, like you're over here breaking your brain. And I would tell her, I'm like, no, I want to use my brain. Thank you. And then I would see her just knocking out invoices, emails, just all sorts of things so fast. And I'm like, okay, I'm working backwards here. And so I think it's actually a wonderful tool to use. And not only that, especially in trades or in painting companies, flooring, whatever you're doing, it's such a great visualizer. And like I said, I literally use it to learn as well.
Yeah, right on. Same thing. I just asked it to give me a Spanish test the other day so I could practice, and it was awesome. It's like I got a new friend here in ChatGPT.
Yes.
You alluded to something. I want to come back to this. You talked about when you were doing some of the design stuff for that Italian restaurant, you were having some self-doubt, right? This is huge, but you figured out how to overcome it.
Yeah.
When you are in that situation where you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have real design training. This is self-taught. This is, I've had mentors. I've had experience. how do you break away from letting yourself fall down into that pit of, I can't do this, I'm not equipped, to, no, I'm doing this, and now I've just created the design for an Italian restaurant? What is the story you're telling yourself so that you keep those thoughts in check?
Yeah, no, that's such a great question. I think that we all need that. I mean, we just came off of Pride weekend, and one of Pastel's friends and my friend created these beautiful wings custom out of Victoria's Secret bags. And he had a little self-doubt. And I mean, this dude is so creative and so talented. And sometimes you get so wrapped up in your head. And then he saw all of the outpour and the feedback that she got from these wings that he designed and created by hand. And he was just overwhelmed. I think that it's hard sometimes when you're in that kind of tunnel and you feel like, oh God, like I don't think I'm equipped for this. You
Yeah.
kind of just have to pull yourself, it's hard. You have to pull yourself out of that mentality and ask yourself, why is it they reached out to me? Well, they reached out to me for a reason, because they know my expertise, they know my design eye. It doesn't matter that I don't have maybe formal design certification. That'll come, and I do believe those things will come, and I think they are important, especially if you want to better yourself and higher learning and things like that. But where I am right now, man, I've made it quite a long way, just learning from scratch. So I think all that to say is, don't doubt yourself. If somebody reaches out to you for a project, it's because they believe in you in the first place, then you
Yeah.
have to remind yourself of that. And I think just kind of seeing the bigger picture of things. I tend to get very anxious. I put a lot of pressure on myself because I'm a perfectionist. And I found that when I relax and just let the process be enjoyable and allow myself to just create and honestly play, because at the end of the day, I'm a creative. I like to create adult playgrounds for my friends to enjoy themselves and be able to come with their families and whatnot. And I think that when you start there, the rest really does fall into place.
Yeah, I love that. All right, last but not least, my friend, what do you do to take care of Gabby, right? You're taking care of her customers, you've got family. The dust settles at the end of the day, the weekend, what does Gabby do to take care of Gabby so that you can keep showing up for all the other responsibilities in life?
I love this question, and it's something that I have to remind myself all the time, and I know you do too, because it gets really easy to just be on the go, go, go. I tell my partner this all the time because she is so busy. Um, I'll tell you what, a good conversation with my mom, I'll literally
Mhm.
call her in between an estimate and just chat with her. And she'll be like, or I'll text her, hey, sold another one. She's like, you go, girl. Those little words of affirmation are so important. If I'm having an overwhelming day, I might give a call to my partner and say, hey, I'm going to my next estimate. Okay, well, you got this. What is it? Oh, it's an exterior. All right, well, make sure you have a good support circle. Let's start there. Number
Yeah.
two, you have to take care of your body because it is a machine. And that's something that I've really come back to. My partner is so amazing. She always sets me up with the best. I mean, literally breakfast, lunch, dinner, all packed in my little caboodle. I kid you not, with a little note to just cheer me on for the day. I think that's really important. Nutrition, your social circle, your family. Um, Also, I would say implementing exercise. Che is so good at this and she's so disciplined. And I've actually been inspired by her discipline and her just like willingness to work out at like 10:30 at night, knowing she had a long day, but she's going to sleep good and she's going to wake up feeling even better. And so I think even work, just implementing a 30-minute little workout, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I'm a big cycler, so I love to cycle. I do a stationary bike. I have it set up in my house with plants all around me, my little mirror, and I just go. And it's actually, I call it my me time. It doesn't matter who's calling me. I have 45 minutes of me time and that's me, and I'm going to sweat it out. I might have a little cry and then I'm going to keep it moving. So I hope that that answered your question, but I think just really kind of creating a good lifestyle and routine, getting good sleep. I mean, I know it sounds like so repetitive, but like that 8 hours is really important. And I shy sometimes to 4 or 5 or 6, and I feel it. And so
Yeah.
when you get that 8 hours of sleep, when you've got that smoothie in your hand or a cup of coffee, you've got lunch ready to go, you're going to work out later, you had a good chat with your mom or your partner or whomever, and then you go home and get some good rest. I think that all of those things set you up for success. I mean, there's a reason that they are repeated all the time. So those are things I do to take care of myself. I also love to garden. So on the weekends, I rest. I get myself ready for the week. I clean. I know it sounds boring, but to me, it's a lot of fun. And listen, I know how to have a good time. You know that. But, sometimes you have to just hone in and make, like right now, we just came off a Pride weekend. It was amazing. It was high energy. I'm depleted. And so now it's reset, refocus, rezen, recenter, and I'm back in the lane. So.
Yep, you got it. And listen, if you want to have a good time with Gaby and me, you can see it in Nashville in October. We've got the Women in Paint event, October 20th, 29th. Gaby, thank you for joining me. This was awesome. And we will see y'all here next time.
Thank you for joining us on Women in Paint. We hope you feel compelled to follow your own path and use your compassion, strength, and skills to build a career in the paint industry. And if you like this episode as much as we did, give it a simple click to subscribe so we can invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share it on all your socials. Remember, Women in Paint, stir up more than just a can of eggshell.